Today we're going to talk worms, long worms, short worms, thin worms, fat worms. There are 26 types of worms in this country, in the UK, Great Britain, and they is so important because they go through all the earth all the time, making lovely channels, and that gets the rain down and the air down and makes all the soil nice. And we need nice soil so we can grow giant pumpkins. So we need good soil, so we need good worms. So you can see more about worms. I'm going to make a wormery. We can only have them in the wormery for 1 week because we mustn't be cruel to worms. They're very important. But let's see what we've got to try and make wormeries. The great thing is to start with my little spade here. And I'm going to start with this, which is actually really quite well rotted manure. And manure is pretty yucky. It comes from horse poo or animal poo and bits of straw and their bedding, and it makes a nice dark smelly poo wet soggy mess. Now to see what they're up to, these worms, it's quite interesting to do lots of different layers. So this is just shredded newspaper. If Daddy has a shredding machine, or if not, you can just tear little bits of any sorts of paper or paper bag or magazine or newspaper, and that gives you another little layer there. So what we're doing is going to build up layers, and if we build up the layers we can sort of see what's going on. So after that, that was the manure. This is just regular old dirt earth from the garden. Make sure you don't dig up anything where mummies and daddies have put seeds in already. So a bit of earth, just ordinary regular earth. You might even find a worm when you're just digging up the earth. So there you go. So now we've got the compost, we've got the paper, now we've got some earth, and now I'm going to put some sand. If you've got a sand pit or some sort of gritty sort of pale coloured stuff, it's mostly just so you can see the different colours, and they can go through that as well. And we'll make that flat. So we're sort of getting a stripy effect here. And then I think, oh, it's just like cooking, isn't it? What should we have left? Let's have a bit more manure, because we've got a big bucket of that. Right there. So we've got a nice dark coloured stripy bit. Now it's quite important to make the worms have enough liquid, because they get a bit thirsty, because what they're going to do is they're going to mix all this into really nice earth. So they need to have a bit of liquid. So this is just water, and if you've got a spray can, and if it can spray, whee, there we go. That's going to give a nice bit of moisture. But what you have to be careful of with worms is not to drown them, because they breathe through their skin, so you mustn't get it too wet. I think we need a bit more. I think we could have some little grass clippings. I don't know if you cut your grass at home if you've got a lawn, but if you have, they make a nice little cosy layer. Look, we're getting some super stripes going on here. Super stripes. Okay, I think a bit more earth. It's just like cooking. You can make your own mixtures you like. A bit more ordinary dirt. Let's have some good old dirt, because that's what they're really good at. Good old amount of good old dirt. Now we did that. Now in here I've got, it's getting a bit steamed up in there, isn't it? I've got some little just dry leaves. Look, these are just dry old leaves that fall off the trees in autumn, and they're just still around the garden in places. Some places you can find dry leaves, but you don't need dry leaves. It's just something different. You can find anything you like. Well, we're getting quite full here. So we've had the manure, we've had the earth, we've had the grass clippings, we've had the sand, and we've had the leaves. I think we just need maybe a top of more earth to give a nice topping to it. Oops, sticks don't matter, because what they do is that they eat as much as they weigh every day in earth. They eat the earth and they poo it out, and those poos are really good for making your flowers grow. So when they've made this all nice, if you do have a compost heap, you can put all your worms and all of their hard work inside. Okay, so now I can more water. Come on, that's especially with the leaves, that's going to be pretty dry. So you want to finish your pot quite near the top, but not totally. So they've got a bit of room, because what we put right on the very top, which I've forgotten just at the minute to get, is some actual goodies, like treats. So this is all this stuff they're going to eat, Ray. But like you, they probably like sort of a bit of chocolate or a sweetie or some special treats from time to time. So if you put some special food on the top, you can see if they eat it. So I'm just going to cut there to go and get some food. Well, I've come back now with some food. Now, this is just from the kitchen. So I've got a bit of celery ends or celery stalk, a little bit of cauliflower, some apple peelings, and some tomatoes. I don't really know what they're going to like. I know they like just things that have been growing. So I'm going to put one bit of celery. I'm going to put just a few tomatoes, because then we'll find out what's their favourites, and some apple peelings. Now apparently oranges and lemons and those sorts of skins, they don't like that. They just prefer like bits of, because outside in the countryside here we don't have that sort of fruit, do we? But we might have these sorts of bits and pieces. I'm going to try and see what happens if you get a stronger bit of celery. Perhaps I'll swap that one. Yeah, one stalky bit. Right, now what's missing? I don't know. What's missing? Hello, what's missing inside my pot? Oh, worms. We haven't got any worms yet. Oh, well, we've got their house already, so that's pretty good. I'm going to give it another little squirt. Let's let the water go down. Because when it's really wet, the worms come up to the top. So when it's raining in your garden, all the worms are coming right to the top. And in fact, it's been really dry, so it's going to be tricky to find worms. But I'm sure we will. Underneath stones and dark, damp places, if there are any, but we can have a really good look for worms. And when they come to the top, the birds know that. So the birds wait for them to pop up, and yum, they have it for breakfast. Thus the expression, the early bird catches the worms. So anyway, off I go with my special moly gloves, and I'm going to dig like the moles do for worms, because worms' favourite lunch, no, moles' favourite lunch is worms. Okay, so I've been looking in like the ordinary flower beds, and because it's been so dry, the worms have gone really, really deep. I couldn't find any, but I got a bit of little earth here, and I'm still determined to find one. So the other place apart from flower beds is under pots. They sort of like live in the pot, and then they go, when it's hot, they go right underneath, and sometimes just underneath on the stone. So partly we're going to lift this up, because remember, all these are real living creatures, so you've got to be kind. So take it back. Oh no. Got a few little woodies here, little wood lice, and I can see some sort of traps. Sometimes you have to look even deeper. It's underneath, but no, not on that one. Move that one out of the way. This is just a sort of quiet little abandoned bit of the garden, so it's all quite quiet. So this is where you're going to find wood lice and sometimes even centipedes. Let's have a look under this one, everybody. Oh, it's a bit heavier. What have we got here? More wood. Oh, 3, 4, 5. Oh my goodness, this is a worm farm. Have you seen? Look. I'm going to very carefully, wakey, little worm. Sorry. I know you're fast asleep, but you're going to come and live in my wormery just for a little while. You're going to have such tasty things to eat. I don't think we want Mr. Woodlouse. Come on, wormies. Is that a big one there? You see, they've made it all sort of yummy and squelchy under here. Here's a wiggly worm. Shall we see? Put him in there. I'm going to keep them together because they might be a whole family, and it would be sad to... I'm going to have to pick this one up. It would be sad to separate them. Okay, so I'm not sure with worms always which is the head and the tail, so I'm going to hold him still in the shade here. I think it's this bit nearest my thumb because that's the direction he's going, unless he's in reverse. Look, he's concertinaing down into something a bit smaller. He's a bit scared, so I'm going to put him in with his friends in here. And there you are. You can see we've got a really lovely collection. And I wouldn't normally have more than one or two, but... Oh, and there's another one here. I want to keep them together because I think that would be so sad to not have the rest of your friends with you. So I'm going to put them all together. I'm going to throw them around a bit. I'm going to put them back. There we go. Put them in there. I've got my gloves on because worms are a bit sort of yucky. Oops. Oh, in there. Okay, so I'm going to take them back straight away, put them in the wormery, and then we're going to put a lid on and put them somewhere dark because they like it dark and cool. So wherever you do, don't let them get sunburnt. Okay, off I go. Okay, so here we are. Here is our wormery, And here are a crop of worms. They're really amazing. So I'm going to very gently lift him up and pop him in there. Oh good, I'll go on there. And these friends, so that they can all stay together. And they're going to think this is really like a party, because they're going to have lovely fresh soil to play with and yummy things to eat. Is that all of them? Yeah, that's all of them. I might sprinkle a little bit of earth so they feel a bit less shy. And then we'll see what happens. So on the top of that, I'm going to put this lid, and it lets the air in, and it means it's quite easy for us to get at them and put more food in every day and see what they've eaten. Then you get a bit of black card if you've got some, not easy to get, something that's soft enough to turn. If you haven't, you can always use a black dustbin liner or anything else that you can get. It doesn't even have to be black really, as long as it's thick, so it can go all the way around your wormery. And then we did have somewhere some rubber bands. Here they are, some rubber bands. So now they've got water, they've got air, they've got yummy things to eat, they've got lots of fresh soil, and actually much more space than being stuck underneath a great big heavy mouldy old flower pot. So here we are. I've got a pen here to write on it saying worms, just in case somebody thinks it's still dog chews. So, and what's the date today? Let me think. It must be about the 25th. So, of April 2020. So they are in lockdown, and let's go and see later how they got on and what they've been up to. Bye bye.